what's up? My name is Jess. Welcome to my channel. So as many of you likely know, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes by Suzanne Collins, which is the prequel to the Hunger Games series, is going to be releasing very soon, I believe this week when this video goes up. And to be completely honest with you, I was not planning to read this when it was first announced. I thought a prequel about President Snow that was over 500 pages sounded like a miserable, boring torture. My opinion has not since changed, but I am still planning to read it because I thought it would be fun to do a video on it. But in order to prepare me to do that video, I am doing this video. At the stroke of midnight tonight, I am going to be doing a 24-hour readathon where I reread the Hunger Games series. I haven't reread any of these books since I was in high school. I probably read them 3 or 4 times when I was in middle/high school when they were popular. So I am interested to reread them. I honestly think I will still like them. I'm not planning to not like them, but who knows? So if you somehow didn't know, this is basically one of the quintessential YA dystopian series, and it follows this girl named Katniss who volunteers in place of her sister to participate in the annual Hunger Games, which is this competition of strength and brutality basically that the capital of this world puts on every year, and it's supposed to kind of keep all of the people in the districts in their place and not rise up against the government because they're worried about how their kids will be treated in this competition game. I don't know how to explain it. You know what it's about probably, so I don't really need to explain it. But anyway, so I will be reading The Hunger Games, which is the first book, Catching Fire, which is the second book, and Mockingjay, which is the third book. I'm going to try to read all 3 of them tomorrow in my 24-hour window. So wish me luck, and let's get into the reading vlog. How do I look? Bad. Okay, great. So it is 10:45 and I am just about to start my 24-hour readathon of The Hunger Games. I'm thinking I'm going to start at 11. I would really like to get at least halfway into this before I give up and take a nap. I can't go to bed. So that is my plan. I'm going to start right when the clock hits 11 and then go to 11 p.m. tomorrow. Even if I do sleep a bit, I think I should be fine. If I'm only reading like a page a minute, they would each take me 6 hours. That's only 18 hours, so I can sleep like 6, but I think I should read them faster than that anyway, hopefully. And I have the audiobooks of all 3 too, so if I get like tired of reading, I can do the audiobook for a little bit. So I'm gonna try to power through half of this and see what I can get read. I'll keep you updated on how I'm feeling and what's going on. Let's get into this 24-hour readathon. I'm sitting in my living room. I'm delirious already and it hasn't even started. I'm sitting in my dining room with all the lights on to hopefully stay the awake. So it's like 4 minutes till, but I'm just gonna start because I don't really want to wait for this arbitrary 11 p.m. time frame. So I'm just gonna read. So I'm in the middle of the first chapter and I just cannot stop imagining Jennifer Lawrence badly delivering these lines, and it's really like at my reading experience, to be honest. So hopefully I will, once I get into the story a little bit more, I'll stop just imagining Jennifer Lawrence and be drawn into the story and forget about the movie adaptations, which are very good by the way, but especially in this first one, Jennifer Lawrence is not a very good actress. Just saying. So it's now about 1 p.m., a little bit, 1 p.m. It's 1 a.m. I'm like 130 pages into The Hunger Games. I am very much enjoying it so far. I've actually been annotating it. I have just recently started annotating things. I'm having a lot of fun with it. Wonder if you can like tell what anything is. Kind of. So like blue is things that are sad, pink are things that I love, orange is shocking, purple is annoying. As you can see, I've been annoyed quite a bit. There's just some like cringy things in here that I think are just a result of being one of the first YA dystopian series, fantasy series. Just some of the stuff Katniss says, I'm like, And also I just could not stop picturing Jennifer Lawrence badly delivering everything that Katniss was saying. But now I'm like into the story more, and it's that's not really an issue. So I am definitely really enjoying it. It's definitely really fun, fast read. I will probably try and read a little bit more before I take a nap. I would love to wake up at 5, 6 at the latest, and keep trucking along. But so far, I guess I'm on schedule. I will check in with you later. Like a corpse. Anyway, it's just after 10 a.m. and I finished my first book. I finished The Hunger Games, halfway into the readathon. So exciting. I definitely slept a little later than I was hoping to, but honestly, that's okay, whatever. I really enjoyed this. I actually didn't enjoy it as much as I thought I was going to. I was kind of shocked. I really thought that I was just gonna love it, but there definitely were quite a lot of stuff in here that annoyed me, more so than when I was in high school and middle school. Like the weird stilted relationship between Katniss and Peeta was kind of cringe for me. I didn't really like reading about it. Every time something happened, I'd be like, ooh. Peeta is a sweetheart for sure, and I appreciate everything he did and respect everything he did, but Katniss's interactions with him were just painful, and I feel bad for him. I just kind of like pity him basically in this book, which sucks. Like, you don't want to pity your main love interest. I don't know, I wasn't as in love with this as I thought I was going to be. I still definitely really liked it, and I think it's a really good story. I feel like if I didn't have any of the nostalgia factor attached to it, I definitely would give it 4 stars. I might actually rate it that on Goodreads. I know the second book is my favorite though, so I'm excited to read that one, and hopefully that my like few complaints about this book are alleviated in that one. I didn't cry, which I was kind of surprised about, but I think it's just because I knew it was happening, you know. Also, Haymitch is by far the best character, and Effie in the book is way better than Effie in the movie. Like, she's so funny in the book, whereas in the movie she's just pretty much annoying. She was so funny in the book, like some of the lines she has, I was like cracking up. Like, that's what all the green tabs in here are, or Effie saying something funny. So right now I'm going to go walk my dog and listen to the audiobook of Catching Fire, and then I'm gonna eat something, probably take a shower and get ready for the day. Probably still won't wear any makeup, so this is what I'm gonna look like for the rest of the day. You're welcome. Yeah, that's the plan, and I will keep you updated.
What are you doing? Are you ready to go for a walk?
Yeah. Yes.
Yes, are you ready to go for a walk?
So Elvis and I went on a walk around our neighborhood. When we got back, I took a shower and unloaded the dishwasher, made myself something to eat. And then it was back to reading. I'm now almost halfway through Catching Fire. It is, what time is it? It is 1:45 p.m. in the afternoon. I'm not quite halfway, but I'm almost halfway. So I am really enjoying this one so far. I think maybe a little bit more than the first one. I just think that the characters' interactions, specifically between like Katniss and Peeta, are more authentic. And I also like enjoy seeing the conflict between Gale and Peeta. And I kind of like this love triangle because it's not like she's like totally in love with either of them. She just doesn't know what the heck she feels, and these two boys both really love her, and she's like trying to figure out if she feels anything for either of them. So I think it's a well well-done love triangle. It's not like she's like in love with both of them. So it really doesn't bother me, and I think the conflict is actually really interesting between the two of them, especially reading it now. And it is funny because when I very first read this series, I was Team Gale. Then when I read it for like the second and third time, I was Team Peta. And I don't know if that was because he wins in the end. I always like being on the winning team when it comes to love triangles. Peta in this book's kind of getting on my nerves, but Gale also gets on my nerves. I don't really like either of them a whole lot. Like, Peta is great, but I don't know that he's like right for Katniss, at least where I am right now in the story. I think that I do start to like him more even now as the series progresses further, but I don't know. I don't even know how I'm feeling. So as I said, it's 1:45. I was hoping to be done with this by 3:30, but I don't know if I will be. Hopefully it'll be around then, definitely before dinner time. I've been listening to the audiobook so far. I don't really like the audiobook narrator, honestly, but I was walking my dog and doing some chores, so I wanted to keep making progress, but I am going to keep reading it physically now from here on out, and I think that hopefully read a little bit faster than the audiobook and get some good progress made in a short amount of time. Hopefully I don't run out of time. I'm just gonna keep reading until I finish the series though, even if it goes a little into tomorrow. I have to sleep. I just can't not sleep. I can't do it. I'm not strong enough. I'm sorry. So yeah, I'm gonna keep reading. I finished Catching Fire at about 5:30, and then I went and had dinner with my family. So I finished this one. I really liked it. I liked this one more than the first one, I believe, which was standard. I think this was always my favorite in the series. I didn't remember how little the actual Hunger Games portion of this book takes up. It doesn't even start until over 200 pages into this novel, so that's over halfway through. Build up I felt like was unnecessary. I felt like we could have spent more time in the arena. I guess it was necessary, but at the same time I think it could have been condensed, and I think the portion in the arena was a little bit too condensed. But I liked Katniss and Peta's interactions in this book more than in the first book. The first book they were definitely pretty cringe, and this one they definitely got a little bit better and more believable, and I think that's because her feelings for him are growing and maturing. So I like that I can see that reflected in this book. I also still love all the secondary characters better than I like any of the main characters. Haymitch is awesome, so is Effie. I really love Finnick and Joanna both. I think they are such good characters. I love seeing them there. Joanna cracks me up. Like, she is so funny. I would love a whole book about Joanna. Like, if the prequel was about Joanna, I would be way happier than reading about stupid presidents now. Also, I found this one to actually be a lot more emotional than the first one, because obviously there's a really significant death in the first one. It's definitely really sad, but that incident in the first one isn't something I forgot at all. I remembered it being in there. I was prepared for it. Whereas in this, I forgot about all the emotional scenes that are in this one. Like in the beginning, the incident in District 11 actually did make me physically cry. I was like, oh my gosh, this is so awful. Also, the death of Finnick's district mate, Mags, in this book is really heart-wrenching too. Like, oh my god, her sacrifice was just insane. She was just the best. Such a good character. I love all the victors in this book and learning their stories and learning their personalities and how they are in on all the big schemes. There's so many plot twists in this book. I remembered some of them, but not all of them. So it was still fun reading this. And I still was kind of shocked at some points. I was like, God, I forgot that. So I definitely think this book has held up over time, maybe even a little bit better than the first one. I'm kind of conflicted over whether I think that this is 5-star worthy now though. I feel like I have to think about it a little bit more. On the one hand, I want to give it 5 stars because it was such a 5-star book for me back in the day, but reading it now, while I still really enjoyed it, I'm not sure it's worth 5 stars. I don't know, I can't decide. I'm gonna think about it a little bit longer, read the last book, and see how I feel after that, and I'll let you guys know. So that's the plan. Mockingjay is up next. It'll be the last one I read, obviously. That's the plan. Hopefully I'll finish this up. Probably won't be until midnight if we're being honest with ourselves, because I keep getting distracted by and it's already 7 o'clock now, so we're lucky if we're gonna finish this at midnight, but this will just be like a 26-27 hour readathon. It's okay. I make the rules anyway. This is my channel, so sorry about it. Stupid cat. It's just after 1 a.m. and I finally finished Mockingjay. Right now I'm going to go to sleep because I'm so tired, and I will reconvene with you in the morning. Yes, I am wearing a One Direction sweatshirt, and yes, it is my favorite thing that I own. So I successfully completed my 24-hour readathon. I finished Mockingjay last night, probably around 1:30 a.m. So it was kind of like a 26.5-hour readathon, but that's okay. What I wanted to do was accomplish reading all 3 of these books, and I did that, so I'm happy. So I did really like Mockingjay. Honestly, I probably got the most emotional reading this one out of all 3 of them, which I thought was interesting because I don't remember this being a favorite. For sure, I liked the other 2 better back in the day, but I did actually really enjoy reading this one. I just really think rereading these now that Suzanne Collins has a pacing problem. So this book is very boring until like the last little bit, the last 25% maybe, it really picks up, and that's when all the action happens. Whereas the whole first part of the book is just build up for no particular reason. I felt the same about Catching Fire. I thought Catching Fire really had a pacing problem as well. The second round of the Hunger Games doesn't even start until over 200 pages into this book. That's over halfway through, and that is the main focus of this book. The whole games only took about maybe 70-80 pages. So I really thought that since that is the main plot point of this book, that could have been way expanded. They could have spent way more time in the arena. People got killed off way too quickly and way too easily. I really would have liked way more time spent in the arena. I thought it would have helped a lot with the pacing and the excitement of the book, whereas the first 200 pages, while some important stuff happens, I think it could have been condensed a lot and the arena time could have been expanded, and I would have enjoyed reading this a lot more. And the same with this one. I really think a lot of the build up and the setup could have been condensed, and the actual like war portion where they're in the capital could have been expanded a lot more, and also the ending could have been expanded a lot more. And I kind of understand why the very end was not, because I do like that this explores what mentally would happen to somebody who is in these horrific situations, because Katniss and Finnick and Annie, even Peeta, all these people are just so emotionally destroyed because they have been put through such rigorous tortures in their lives. And I really appreciated seeing that, and I don't think I really acknowledged that reading that when I was in high school, but now I can really see what Suzanne Collins was doing and how she was showing how this like just totally destroyed them and broke them down until they could barely function anymore, and they had to relearn how to do everything basically and how to feel about everything, and basically had to become a new person because these terrors were just so emotionally draining. And I appreciated seeing that as opposed to a character who just like pops back from it, because you wouldn't just pop back from that, especially when you're being forced to murder people and protect your family and save them from this horrific government. So I really did enjoy that aspect of it, and that's why I liked this book a lot more than maybe I would have thought I did in high school, because I really appreciated seeing that exploration into the emotional effects that something like this would have on a regular human being. So that's basically my wrap up. In terms of pacing, I thought The Hunger Games definitely was the best. In terms of pacing, I thought that it was laid out the best, progressed through the story in the best possible way. But I did think a lot of the character interactions in this first book were cringy and stilted. So that definitely affected my enjoyment of this one, which is why I'm giving this one 4 stars. In Catching Fire, I thought a lot of the relationships and dialogue between the characters was very improved and felt less stilted and felt more authentic. But at the same time, I think this book really suffers from a terrible pacing problem. So this one is also getting 4 stars for that reason. And finally, Mockingjay also suffers from a terrible pacing problem. Although I did appreciate reading this more than I did when I was in high school, I think that this one is getting 4 stars as well. This series for me, I really enjoyed rereading it, and I think it has a lot of value, has a lot of nostalgia for me. It is definitely quintessential YA. I think it really helped launch the genre and make it as big as it is today. But at the same time, this series definitely has flaws, which I think are easier to see now. Reading it as an adult, looking back, and having read so much since that in the YA genre and knowing how good it can be. While this has a lot of value and was really good, I think this series as a whole doesn't quite hold up as well in terms of it being a 5-star series for me still, but it was really enjoyable. I think it really deserves these 4-star ratings that I'm giving it. It was definitely really good, but there are some areas of improvement in the pacing and in the character dialogues. So that was my 24-hour readathon rereading The Hunger Games for the first time since high school. I really hope you enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching. This was so fun for me to film and so fun for me to revisit these books. And very soon I will be doing a reading vlog reading the new prequel, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. Is that what it's called? Ballad of Snakes and Songbirds. I don't remember which way it is. I always forget. So that is fun and something to look forward to. And yeah, all relevant links will be in the description down below. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.